To continue our meeting, we're going to go into the District Sycamoose Development Corporation AGM. We're going to call it to order recommendation that the DOS DC AGM be called to order at 4:59. Did I get a mover? Thanks, Councillor Bailey, Councillor Rich, all in favor. Okay. And we are going to go into the business summary, tourism and economic development. Carly, take it away.
Good evening.
Pull the mic towards you.
Weird. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just presented you guys with an update, so it's good to see you all again. And this actually is going to be our 2023 report for what the DOSDC took on and accomplished. So the next slide. So we're going to cover highlights, business walks, and business supports under economic development, and highlights, initiatives, and events under tourism. So the District of Sycamoose Development Corporation has made significant strides in economic development and tourism throughout 2023. Our initiatives have focused on increasing tourism, supporting local businesses, and promoting community engagement through various programs and events. This report summarizes our key initiatives, or key achievements, and metrics throughout 2023. So I'll go right into AgDev highlights. So we've done a lot, accomplished a lot, and it's really exciting as we're, a quarter of the way, a little bit more than a quarter of the way through this year. We've already got a nice list of accomplishments. So in terms of development opportunities, we supported the DOS staff and council in conversations with interested developers looking for more information about business, lifestyle, amenities, tourism, and more, to attract investment. The Rural Northern Immigration Pilot and Provincial Nominee Program. I attended 3 sessions throughout 2023 to ensure Sycamoose was prepared to support program applicants. I'm currently working on Path to Citizenship with 2 Sycamoose applicants. BC 55+ gave support act as a support community. So with myself and Daryl and Jamie supporting the BC 55+ Games accommodation and volunteer committees to ensure successful events happen within Sycamoose, and that we're well positioned to provide those amenities for the participants coming to play in the games. The community profile investment package, we were successfully awarded $15,000 for building economic capacity from EDCBC to complete this project. It was in market April 2024 and is currently being printed. So at my next update, I'll bring you guys a print copy of what our investment package and community profile looks like. Conferences and meetings, I attended the BC EDA Summit and the BC EDA Leadership and Learning Workshop. That's BC Economic Development Association. For social media and website, updated the website to reflect our current resources, created the DOS Dev Corp Instagram profile and DOSDC Facebook page. We are seeing consistent growth across all platforms and will continue to grow as I bring on Camden for summer support, putting out more economic development related information. And then under advocacy and committee representation, I sat on a couple different committees for ECDEV. One was the Shuswap Economic Recovery Task Force. This was a group that was started and chaired by John Reed from the Shuswap Economic Development Society after the Bush Creek wildfires. So they created an emergency task force to figure out how to establish economic recovery within the area and to set up all of the Shuswap in the event that another crisis does hit our area. The 2 committees that I sat on were Business Professional and Supply Chain Subcommittee and the Tourism Industry Support Subcommittee. So I have access to all of the agendas and meeting minutes if anyone is interested on the workings of that group, but it is, there's quite a diverse group of people that sit on these subcommittees, from area directors to industry executives, forestry, building, etc. So the conversations are very important that we're having, and something that we will continue we're going to amalgamate some of the committees so that we have fewer meetings in a month, but more impactful ones with a larger group. The Shuswap Trails Working Group, sharing information on the Sycamoose Trail Network updates, that's quarterly. And then the Shuswap Workforce Hub, which is a collaborative effort to support labor challenges in the Shuswap. We've developed a website and marketing assets, which has been sent out, and campaigns have been created around the Workforce Hub and how it can support our local businesses. Essentially, the Workforce Hub is the Indeed job board for the Shuswap specific. So it connects Shuswap employers with Shuswap employees. And the partners that are continually working on this are the DOSDC, Salmon Arm Economic Development Society, Work BC, Community Futures, and Okanagan College. So we get together monthly with a big quarterly roundup with more industry professionals to understand where the labor market is sitting, where the challenges might still be, and how we can continue to move things forward in supporting those labor challenges. We completed our first business walk. We had 6 DOSDC directors, myself, and 2 DOS counselors that hit the town in pairs to connect with local businesses and gather information around successes, challenges, support needed, expansion opportunities, or succession planning. The surveys were used as a conversation starter, with most businesses willing to complete all questions. We had follow-ups with red flag businesses that were completed within 20 days following the survey. So over the morning, we did about 4 to 5 hour business walk. 21 businesses were visited. 4 businesses were looking for support with expansion that we connected with afterwards. 12 businesses identified housing as a main factor in attracting and retaining good talent. 5 businesses stated that they were thinking of closing their doors within 6 to 12 months, hence the red flag, and that's where we went and did the follow-ups as a priority case. 4 businesses stated that more business education around succession planning would be welcomed. 8 businesses thought it was easy to do business in Sycamoose, and 80% of businesses identified not being prepared for a future emergency. So I had included in your reading material the questions that were asked of the customers the businesses, and used as a basis for the information that we gathered. The plan is to do another one before the summer. Ideally, that'll happen before the summer hits. We're going to revise a little bit of the survey questions, but ensure that we hit a new scope of businesses while also connecting with the ones that presented with a yellow or a red flag. We ran some business support workshops and partnerships. There were 3 free workshops hosted at the DOSDC offices, and a lot of this came from the information that we did gather on the business walk. So we did a grant writing workshop, succession planning, and digital presence. Interestingly enough, although there was a large group of businesses that said they didn't feel that they were prepared for an emergency, we tried to run an emergency preparedness course and we got 0 interest. So we're revising how we approach and educate the businesses moving forward with the help of Shuswap Tourism, CSRD, Emergency BC resources that are already available. Community Futures is coming out with a new playbook that they should be launching very soon, and we'll be using that as our basis of information that we deliver to our businesses. We had 42 participants that took advantage of the experts that we brought in to host those 3 sessions, and due to popular response and feedback, additional workshops will be offered throughout 2024. And we supported the chamber with the Biz Before Biz initiative, which was hosted at the DOSDC offices. So that was a really wonderful breakfast meeting. We had quite a good turnout of businesses that came and introduced themselves, and just had a really good morning coffee talking session. So now as we get into tourism, some of the highlights. So when we look at what 2023 MRDT ended up at, we successfully were captured $135,575. Regular, which is our regular accommodators, hotels, motels, 97,517, and then our online accommodation providers was $38,057. The regular increase over 2022 is a 4.2% increase. Online accommodators with the new short-term regulations went up by 25%, and the total increase over 2022 was 9.1%. When we look at overall MRDT collectors, we are still trending up. We've had some really strong years, and the online accommodation was probably one of the more significant increases within MRDT collection groups. Social media and website, I've got some statistics there under social media, just aggregate metrics. We had great 19% audience growth, 309% increase in impressions, and a 911% engagement. We had 2 social media contests and swag giveaways. Website performance, over 2023, we had our average monthly visits were 1,000 to over 1,000, and average monthly page views were just under 2,400. For conferences and meetings, I attended the TODA Tourism Summit, the Destination BC Annual Tourism Conference, Shuswap Tourism Strategic Development Plan Workshop, and the DBC Crisis Management course. Under advocacy and committee representation, again, I sat on some committees. The Shuswap Tourism Advisory Committee, I was appointed vice chair. Those were quarterly meetings for 2023. The Wildfire Travel Ban Impact Committee was hosted by TOTA, so Thompson Okanagan Tourism Association, and that was to understand and figure out how we prevent what happened on August 19th of 2023 when they put that blanket travel ban and really impacted, basically cut our summer short, and with no consultation or basically no consultation from the tourism industry. I attend BC Destination Marketing Organization Association monthly calls, and also the TOTA Community Destination Marketing Organization monthly roundtables. The TOTA CDMO meetings are all DMOs from across BC present their updates over Zoom. We address challenges and identify successes in each territory and region, and we get updates from DVC and TOTA on provincial and regional initiatives, funding opportunities, and advocacy. We had a big year for tourism. So some of the initiatives and events that we completed were 6 wayfinding kiosks that are currently being reskinned that are around town. We had 4,000 visitor guides updated and put into market. 2 tourism advisory committee strategic planning sessions that drove the direction for the 2024 MRDT plan. We partnered with Shuswap Tourism and Salmon Arm Economic Development Society to create the BC Bird Trail Shuswap Outpost, which essentially is an activity and an experience to draw in the birding industry into Sicamous and Salmon Arm. The Let's Ride BC partnership with Sled Sicamous to support the sledding industry. We added 10 new caches to the Sicamous Geo Tour. One Peak Creative came and did a video on our Geo Tour, which got thousands of likes and has over 20,000 views. We engaged Chamber and BIC the $8,000 fee for service agreement for tourism support on Geo Tour, guide delivery, asset production, and other programs. We secured the 2024 UCI Pump Track World Championship qualifiers for September 7th and 8th at our new pump track in Finlayson Park. The supported events that we provided swag for and some financial sponsorship dollars was the 5th annual Jim Rice Fishing Derby, Bungie Festival, Shake the Lake, and Sled Sicamous Film Festival. Invested in new video and photo content to support marketing projects, Kelowna digital ads, and social media campaigns. Created and executed the Renew in the Shoe accommodation program with Shuswap Tourism and Salmon Arm MacDev. Nights over a 30-day period in a month where they wouldn't normally see that incremental stay. We developed, printed, and delivered requested marketing assets to accommodators on where to shop and what to eat, and supported the Destination BC launch of Rainforest to Rockies iconic campaigns, of which Sicamous is on that trail. So in conclusion, 2023 has been a year of growth and resilience for the DOSDC and economic development and tourism. Our strategic initiatives have not only boosted tourism and local business support, but have also laid the groundwork for continued success in 2024. We are eager to build upon these accomplishments, support our local businesses and entrepreneurs, promote our amenities, experiences, and attractions, and continue to grow a vibrant, sustainable community. I would like to send a heartfelt thanks to the departing DOSDC directors for all their hard work, expertise, and engagement throughout your terms, and welcome to the newly appointed directors. I hope you're excited to continue making a positive impact in Sicamous while sitting on the DOSDC board. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your feedback and ongoing support.
Wow, thanks, Carly. That's awesome. Okay, so we have time now for some questions. If council or the gallery has any questions, go ahead, Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, I just wanted to, thanks very much for that update, Carly. I was just looking, because I always look at the MRDT money. That's my barometer. It looks like, we had a really good increase on the short-term rental side because of I think part of that is through the enforcement actions and threat thereof. But the 4% regular increase, I mean, that would just be keeping up with inflation. And that's not bad considering the year that we had. So I don't want to, I don't have any concern over it. But do we know kind of where we are this year? I mean, we had a bit of a rough winter and in terms of lack of snow, but do we get updates on that? Or is it just kind of like a yearly thing?
No, so we actually get a monthly statement.
Okay.
Typically, we get a monthly statement that shows where we're sitting at, whether they include, again, it all depends on when people remit their taxes.
Right.
As to where we see it. So we can kind of gauge year over year. The challenge is looking at, it's always 3 months behind.
Correct.
So I didn't even think to bring the most current numbers, but I can definitely get those to you because Bianca and Tom do a great job of making sure the spreadsheet is all updated when we do get the deposits.
Yeah, just a follow-up. Yeah, because I do think that that gives us a really good insight into how many people we're bringing into the town for overnight stays, which I think is the absolute key for tourism here. It's obviously the key for hotels. It's the key for shops, coffee shops, restaurants, askews, you name it. So that number I think is really important. And then did you have some thoughts around what the target increase should be year over year? I like, we never talked about that, but is there an idea of where we should be in relative comparison to everybody else in the region?
It's not something that we've ever actually talked about in terms of targeting, because it's so fluid.
Right.
I mean, you raised a good point that it gets us just over inflation. So I imagine that if we can ensure that we are trending above inflation, we've got to be doing something right. But
Yeah.
it's a good conversation actually to have.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Councillor Bushel.
Through the chair, great work, Carly, great presentation, thank you. Just wondering how are you making out on the, I know we were struggling with our tourism advisory committee. Do we still have good accommodators on board? Like enough accommodators on board? Like.
Through the chair, are you talking about the existing?
Yeah,
So we're actually, the ad is going out for the new, so with the new DOSDC board and new tourism advisory committee will be, expression of interest will be sent out. So myself and Candace and Sarah have created basically the same type of a process that the DOSDC board went to. So it'll be going out to public interest and we'll be collecting applications, and we have changed the terms of reference to decrease the size because it became less strategic. We want to really dial in strategic and ensure we have that representation from around all of the industries that are important to determining how we spend that MRDT money. With regards to the accommodator, they are still, nobody has expressed any dissatisfaction with it. We will be going in, 2024 is going to be a big year because we renew in 2025. So the conversations will be starting once the new tourism advisory committee is chosen. We do have a seat for an accommodator, as we've had in the past. So we're hoping to get some expression from our local accommodators, but we will be having that conversation now to ensure that they are still all on board so that when we go to reapply in 2025, we're successful in renewing our application.
okay, great,
Is
thank
that
you.
what you asked?
Yeah, you bet. I was just concerned because I know we were having a tough time getting the accommodators on board. Like, I mean, they're on board, but I mean on the board.
On the board. Yeah, and when I've talked to them too, another possibility is to have them come as a delegation so that there's no real commitment, because some of the owner operators or GMs would like to come, but they can't commit to, regular, even though it's quarterly, they don't feel that they can commit to it. So, bringing them in as a delegation or having them come when they're available might be a new way to look at having them be more engaged in what we're doing.
Okay, good work planning.
Anyone else? Anyone online? Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
So
Councillor.
if there's someone online, I just wanted to ask just about the shoulder season plans, because I know you kind of went over it quickly, but maybe I'll just give you an opportunity to expand on it a little bit. Was that you did have a plan, and I think you mentioned it, about targeting certain different communities outside, like the birding community and the rest. And how has that gone in terms of, you seen any significant pickup on it, or?
It's a growth, definitely a challenge. Sorry, through the chair. It's challenging getting it out. So right now we're working really closely with Shuswap Tourism on their welcome back campaign, which everyone will start to see. So we're trying to bolster the interest in the area for the seasons. One thing we are seeing province-wide is people are trending on booking vacations now more in that June timeframe, which is good. As one of the initiatives for the TAC last year was, if we can win June and September, then we've added incremental nights to our accommodators. We've added more business to our local, restaurants and retail shops. And now we want to shift and looking forward is May and October. So if we can add those 4 months, that would be what we would consider shoulder season. So things like really promoting the pump track out of the summer season. We really don't put a whole lot of energy into promoting summer at all. We really try and look at those. So, birding will hopefully be a significant win for us, as I'm working with the DS on any time that they are building trails, and what they're doing is making sure that we bring the birding, our guides from Salmon Arm Naturalist Society out to help us choose where these information centers can be. with biking. Once, you've got rail trail, you've got pump track, which will be great. And then looking at some of the other initiatives, maybe fall colors and fall festivals. But again, yeah, great point. Next, for the 2025 plan, really the entire strategic direction will be, May, June, and then September, October, and ensuring that we get, hopefully we can get the pump track qualifier again. I'm working on a music festival, with Director Miltmore, so it, hopefully we'll get there.
Good, thank you.
No, thanks, Carly. I think it is some of that shoulder stuff is a slower process. I said to Carly yesterday, I've never seen so many people carrying camera equipment down in Old Town. Old Town Bay, like they're walking around there and they're bird people. So they're out taking their pictures and so it's becoming more and more. So it's a growing industry. Excellent. Anyone else? Carly, thank you so much. You do a great job and that's, you can see a lot of this stuff coming together. And since you've started and since we started the ECDEV Corp, it's just a growing department and it's good. It's good to see.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll echo what Carly said. Just want to thank the departing directors and welcome the new directors. So we are going to go into the shareholder consent resolution. The undersigned being the sole shareholder of the company entitled to vote at an annual general meeting of the company hereby consents to the following resolutions. Resolved as resolutions of the sole shareholder of the company entitled to vote as an annual general meeting that the financial statements of the company for the period ended December 31st, 2023 are hereby approved. All lawful acts, contracts, proceedings, appointments, and payments of money by the directors of the company since the last annual reference date of the company and which have previously been disclosed to the shareholders are hereby adopted, ratified, and confirmed. The number of directors on the company is hereby fixed at 7. The following persons, each of whom have consented to act as a director and hereby elected as directors of the company to hold office until the next annual general meeting of the company or unanimous resolution consented in lieu of holding a general meeting or until their successors are appointed. Richard Anderson, Mary Hofstede, Mike Miltimore, Allison Watson. BDO LLP, certified public accountants in Salmon Arm, British Columbia are hereby appointed auditors for the company until the next annual reference date of the company or until a successor is appointed at a remuneration to be fixed by the directors. And May 22nd, 2024 is the selected annual reference date for the company for its current annual reference period. These resolutions shall be deemed in effect as of the 22nd of May, 2024. What would you like? Where do we go from here?
Through the chair, I'm just wondering, I'm just thinking now that we should maybe include the names of the current directors. So just noting that also on board is Mike Helfrich, Todd Kylo, and Colleen Dales. And we'll need a mover and seconder and then a vote on the consent resolutions.
Councillor Beach, Councillor Bailey.
Could I just point out one thing? Says if you go back up to the directors here, it says to be appointed to the until the next annual general meeting, which will be next year. But I believe we're appointing these folks for a 2-year term.
2-year terms, yeah.
So then I think we should amend that.
I think some fall off next year. I think some,
But these folks,
yeah.
but these folks are appointed for a 2-year term. Am I correct in that?
Correct, yeah.
So should we just tweak that wording?
We can tweak it. We don't.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, no problem.
Yeah, so these were appointed for, so
Until-
Mike, Colleen, and Todd, their positions come up next.
Mhm.
And so there would be a call for volunteers again, and they would put their names forward if they want to stay. For these individuals, Richard, Mary, Mike, and Allison, it's for 2 years.
These are for 2 years.
Make sure that's not.
You'll appropriately tweak it. Okay.
Yes.
Hey, could I get a mover? Councillor Beach, Councillor Bailey. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Do I need to sign this now? No, like, do
That's okay.
we need to? Yeah, could we get the directors that are here to maybe just stand up and introduce yourselves?
Yeah.
Maybe just a quick introduction. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Richard Anderson, and I sort of stumbled across the application on the Systems Town website. I was looking for an Easter egg hunt.
And here you are.
Yeah, but I read it and it wasn't as in detail as the presentation by Carly here, but I was really impressed and I thought it was the right kind of initiative for a lot of different things that a growing town would need. And so I put in the application and then I sort of got busy doing other stuff and heard back that it got accepted. So I'm really excited and look forward to working with all you guys and hopefully achieving some great things for Sycamus. So.
Thank you, Richard. Welcome. Ally?
Hi, my name is Ally Watson. I'm Allison on the computer, but really I prefer to be called.
Yeah.
I was like, who's Allison?
I stumbled on that. I went, who's Allison?
Really told Sarah to say it.
Legal name.
I was born and raised here actually and left for many, many years and came back. And I'm very, very passionate about Sycamus, very passionate about business, very passionate about tourism. So I'm really excited to be a part of this. So thanks for having me.
Thanks. Mary? Mary?
Hey, I'm Mary, same as you, I stumbled across it and thought, oh, you know, we came from Chilliwack 3 years ago and I was part of the Rotary and the council and all of that kind of stuff there for many years in business. And since we're doing something to based with tourism in Sycamus, just outside of it, I was like, you know what, maybe this would be good to get involved in and kind of see, you know, the feelings of the town and what's going on. And I'm hoping that yeah, it'll be a fun thing to get involved in and see where we go with this.
Thanks, Mary. Hi.
That's rentals and store and that's the stream company down. Yeah, I joined last year, became a member or director of the board and just trying to help however I can and try and input and help tourism. I've been living on and working on this lake my whole life, so it's fun to get to see things grow and try and push new initiatives.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for stepping up and being directors. Okay, so we are going to wrap this up. Recommendation that the DOSDC AGM be adjourned at 5:27. Councillor Bailey, Councillor McCabe, all in favor. That's carried. Thanks, thanks Carly and the gang. Okay. Bylaws and policies, official community plan, bylaw announcement number 1070, 2024, and zoning bylaw number, amendment number 1071, 2024, 303 and 307 Bush Lane, first and second reading. There's a recommendation that the District of Sycamus official community plan amendment bylaw number 1070, 2024 be given first and second reading this 22nd day of May 2024. Do you want me to break those into two? Okay, can I get a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor McCabe, Nicole, do you want to take that away?
The chair. I'll present on both the zoning and the OCP. And this is a presentation that we just did last week at the planning committee. So they're going to hear it again, but I think it's a good example of some of the applications that we're able to do back-to-back planning to council and get them moving as fast as we can. So the property that we're looking at, or properties, is 303 and 307 Fred Bush Lane, and they're just outlined in red there. And currently they're designated town center. And they're zoned C1 local and town center commercial. And so this is the proposal. The property is again outlined in red. That's 303 and 307 Fred Bush Lane. And the rest of the property, the colorful property there is 222 Temple. And that property under the OCP is currently residential medium density. And as you can see in this proposal, that's what's being proposed is some townhouses, about 74 in this drawing. We're still working through the details of the development permit and some variances, but that's the initial plan. And so for the OCP, we're looking to amend it to match 303 and 307 Fred Bush to 222 Temple, which would mean town center to the residential medium density. And then for the zoning, also looking to match 222 Temple, it's currently MUR1, multi-unit residential, which is what's proposed here. And with 303 and 307 currently zoned as C1, they don't have a commercial component proposed, it's just townhouses. And so the better fit would also be the MUR1 to match 222 Temple. So that's the proposal in front of us today. More slide. I just wanted to talk about the development as a whole. So we've got the OCP and the zoning amendment in front of us for first and second reading. And that's to align with the entire development. And then a development permit with some variances will be proposed at a later date for council for that multifamily development. And then ultimately some type of subdivision to break into these into separate parcels. And so we did just take it to the Planning and Development Committee, and it wasn't actually last week. It was maybe about a month ago. We had a number of applications ahead of this one, and 222 Temple was added to the agenda as a late item, and the developer did a great presentation on what they were proposing, and the PDC felt that instead of coming to the Planning Committee again with a more formal presentation, that we could skip PDC and just come straight to council with their proposal and see what everyone thinks.
Okay. Any questions? Any discussion? Okay, we'll call the question on that one. All in favor? That's carried. So, and the second recommendation that the District of Sycamore zoning amendment bylaw number 1071/2024 be given first and second reading this 22nd day of May 2024. Can I get a mover? Councillor Evans, Councillor Rich. Any discussion on that? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thank you. Moving along, there's official community plan bylaw amendment number 1074/224 and zoning bylaw amendment 1075/2024, 329 Main Street, first and second readings. Recommendation of the District of Sycamore's official community plan amendment bylaw number 1074/2024 be given first and second reading this 22nd day of May 2024. Can I get a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Evans. Nicole, do you want to go ahead?
Through the chair. So I'll present on both again, the OCP and the zoning. It's a little bit similar to the one we just discussed, but a different type of proposal. So the property is 329 Main Street. It's just on the corner of Main Street and Shuswap Avenue. It's currently designated town center, and it's zoned C1 local and town center commercial. And so the proposal is to ultimately subdivide this existing lot into 2 lots. And so that would have a separate title for the existing commercial development on Main Street. So that would remain. And then the, I guess the back end of the lot would be a residence for the owners of the commercial development to live in. So their intent is to continue to operate the commercial, but then have the separate title for their residence. So that's the ultimate goal. And so in order to do that, for the OCP, they're in the town center, and they would propose to go to the residential low density because that back half would only have like a single family dwelling with an option to have a suite. We learned about that earlier today. Because there is no commercial component in that, and a town center encourages the commercial component. And then for the zoning, they're currently C1, so they would be going, or I would say a down zoning to R1 to only have the residential development there because there is no commercial component proposed. And this will come at a later date as well. So a development permit and then probably some variances, and the variances that we already discussed were some setbacks for the residents from Shuswap Avenue and perhaps the exterior, rear, or interior lot lines. So that will come at a later date for the residents. And then, just again, as a whole, so they're looking to subdivide the existing lot. They need to do an OCP and zoning amendment for that residential portion. And then follow it up with a DP with some variances. So we did take this to the planning committee last week. And yes, I think we carried all three. Yeah, we did.
Excellent, thank you. Does council have any questions or concerns? Okay, we'll call the question, all in favor. And that's carried. There's a recommendation that the District of Sycamore zoning amendment bylaw number 1075/2024 be given first and second reading this 22nd day of May 2024. Could I get a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Rich. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried as well. Thank you. Okay, District of Sycamore zoning amendment bylaw number 1069/2024, 425 Main Street adoption. Recommendation that the District of Sycamore zoning amendment bylaw number 1069/2024 be adopted this 22nd day of May 2024. Nicole.
Okay, through the chair. So I know we've done this presentation a number of times. I can do it again tonight, and maybe I will, because it wasn't at our last meeting. So yes, we're recommending adoption tonight. So this is the property, 425 Main Street. And it's currently designated town center. And it has split zoning. So the north end is C1, town center commercial, and then the south end, the yellow portion is MUR1, multi-unit residential. The proposal as a whole is for, hope everyone knows by now, a 5-story mixed-use building. We've got some commercial units on the bottom, apartments on the top. There's some garages proposed with storage spaces for the tenants. And so this proposal is to address the split zoning. So we're proposing to go from C1 to MUR1, which is a better fit with the multi-unit residential. And then we're adding a site-specific reg. Did I say that backwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, let me do that again. So they do have the commercial component in this development, not the last one. So let me just start over. So they're addressing the split zoning. Yeah, they're gonna go to C1 from MUR1 because they have that commercial component. And then in that C1, they're going to add a site-specific reg for the storage of garages as a permitted use. Just a summary of the proposal, we're addressing the split zoning. And then later tonight, we have the development permit coming and some variances that we're still working out, which will come to council at a later date.
Okay. Any questions? Any concerns? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, 24-076-DP 425 Main Street. Recommendation that council authorize the District of Sycamore to issue development permit number 24-076-DP to permit the development of a 55-unit housing project with commercial component for the property legally described as Lot C, District Lot 452, Kamloops Division, Yale District, Plan EPP 130-290 425 Main Street. Can I get a mover? Councillor Beach, Councillor Evans. Nicole.
Yeah, through the chair. Okay, it's later tonight. Back to back. That's kind of funny. So we took this to the planning committee. And the suggestion was that the development, the town center development permit be approved pending approval of the rezoning, which just happened. So this is good news. The property again, just 425 Main Street. Town center designation for the OCP, but now it's all C1. And proposal hasn't changed. Okay, so this is more the development permit details. So they've got a total of 91 parking stalls. Landscape area proposed, there's a fenced dog run, and then a covered and separated garage and storage area that we just talked about earlier. And then some of the, I guess, specific conditions for the development permit, not the variance. So the development permit includes just being in general accordance with the drawings that we've been provided. We've reviewed those quite extensively. Has to meet building code requirements and designed to the subdivision and development servicing bylaw. And then we have accommodation of a pedestrian walkway. We talked about that, I think it was at the committee of the whole, and the requirement or request for that. And so that's been included in this development permit. Details of the walkway are still being worked out and could impact the variance permit. So that's why the variance isn't being proposed tonight, but that's not a problem. We still have time to work that out. But the developer has said that they're interested in doing that with us. So that's great news. And then some general landscaping. This is the variance that will be coming, the width of the landscape buffer area. We had some reduced, I guess, area requested, and we took a look at that at the planning committee and maybe at some of our council or committee of the whole meetings. There's a lot of buffers in this area with other developments, and so the relaxation was recommended. And then the building massing, which we talked about in another meeting, where we have provisions in our bylaw that talk about shadow casting, and this building's gonna be quite tall, so they're requesting if we didn't follow those general regs, they'd have to have setbacks of 9.11 meters on the east side, which is a lot. I don't even think, in this proposal, they could make that. So there's gonna be some relaxation on that, and maybe some others, like I discussed, we're still working out the pathways. And so I think this is just the recommendation again.
Thanks, Nicole.
Yep.
Any questions? Councillor McCabe.
Not a question. I just think this is a great development for our community and it's pretty exciting.
I agree with you. Councillor Beach.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a great project.
Yeah,
Good for us.
exactly. A lot of exciting stuff going on. Okay, having said that, let's call the question. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Okay, moving right along. 21-361-DP 534 Main Street. Recommendation, the District of Sycamoose Council approved development permit number 21-361-DP for the property legally described as Lot 1 District Lot 497 Kamloops Division Yale District Plan 12390 534 Main Street for a checkpoint commercial development, including drive-through services, facilities with a food court, dining area, and associated amenities. And furthermore, that as a condition of the development permit, staff are to reach a resolution regarding the road right-of-way access and servicing agreement to the satisfaction of the District of Sycamoose. Could I get a mover? Councillor Evans? Councillor McCabe? Nicole, do you want to take that away?
Oh, yeah, through the chair. So this is the property 534 Main Street. It's currently designated town center under the OCP and zoned C1. So the proposal is the checkpoint development, and it has a drive-through service facilities with a food court, dining area, and the associated amenities. And this is just a snip from their most recent drawing package. And this is the site plan, and outlined is in red is 534 Main Street. So a little bit of history on this one. It's an older file number starting in 2021. So contaminated sites reg. So 530, which is the property surrounding 534, was applied for concurrently with 534, but 534 was required to go through the site contamination process with the province. And so at that time, 530 moved forward with the development permit, and that was issued in 2021. It included the gas canopy, parking, landscaping, and a garbage tank. And then 534 later received clearance from the province quite recently, November of last year. Traffic impact study. So the developer conducted a TIS that provided recommendations for traffic flow. And then there was a third-party review conducted of the TIS, and it provided some further recommendations and reviewed some intersections around town, including Paradise and Main and Highway 97A and Highway 1. And then recommendations from the TIS were incorporated on site with the exception of removing one or both of the drive-throughs. So this is the landscape plan. The garbage tank location was moved as per the request of some of the members of council. And so when it was moved, it was just switched with the fountain that's proposed. So in this drawing, we have the fountain is closer to the intersection of Highway 97 and Highway 1. And then the garbage tank is, I guess, on the north part of the property of 530. So the final landscape plan was included in the staff report. So we have 3 existing agreements between the District of Sicamous and the developer. There's an off-site roadworks, a landscaping, and then the road or right-of-way access and servicing agreement. And that's the one that's shown in the photo on the right. That's the area that covers the road right-of-way access and servicing agreement. And then here is another, I guess, just snip of the road and access area agreement. And if you go to the next slide, just want to talk about that a bit more. Because there were some concerns that were brought up that the development may be dependent on that area for traffic flow. When you come into the development, you have to take a right and then go around the building. And when you go right, you have to drive parallel and within that road dedication area. And so some options were proposed recently to the developer to maybe address this. There was some worry that if the District of Sicamous did rescind the agreement for this area, that the development would have to deal with that, and that might be a big deal in terms of traffic flow. And so the options proposed to kind of address that were to change the traffic flow altogether, to come off of Main Street and go straight into the development and not take a right, which would remove the need for that road agreement, mostly east. Or amend the existing agreement just to have some stronger language that says if the District of Sicamous does rescind this area because they need it, that the developer is fully responsible for dealing with the consequences of that. Or we threw out the option to purchase the road right-of-way area and consolidate it with 530 and 530 Main Street. And I might be jumping ahead, but a recommendation of this development permit is to consolidate 530 and 534 together because they are reliant on each other. So in total, 530 and 534 would include 44 parking stalls. Some of them are electric vehicle, gas canopy, the fountain with seating, the garbage tank, drive-through services, landscaping, food court, dining area, and associated amenities. And that was the recommendation that was read earlier.
Thanks, Nicole. Any comments? Council? Councillor Bailey?
Yeah, this has been a long and complicated file, I think, in front of us. This started back with the previous council, where they approved basically half a development at 530 Main Street, which was originally the gas station. 534 at the time was considered a potential contaminated site, so it had to be cleared by the province, so it wasn't allowed to be, I guess, approved at that time because it had to be cleared. This is a hard one for me because I don't believe that this project represents what the people of Sicamous would like to see in that site, but the reality is the previous council approved half of it, and here we are. I don't think the previous council should have done that. I was critical at the time. I'm still critical of that. But we're in a position where half of it has been approved. But I don't quite know how I'm feeling about voting on this right now. But whichever way I vote, I firmly believe that people in town wanted to see something else on that site and wanted to have their voice heard in a different way that I don't think it can be allowed at this point because of the complicated nature of the site. But I didn't want this to pass without me saying that. And I think there is also some issues with how this fits into our OCP, that this is town center commercial and what the frontage is going to look like. And we discussed some of this at planning and development, that there will be, under the current plans, the frontage of the building will be drive-throughs. And you know, yeah, I guess there could be a lot said, but maybe I'll just leave it at that and just say I'm very conflicted about this this development and what the ultimate impact is for Sycamore. And obviously, I hope it's well. And but I think this has been not. I think this could have been done a lot better. And I think at the time it should have been voted down by the council because it was not the entire development. And so here we are today, basically approving the other half of the development, when I think it should have been done all as one, not this piecemeal approach. So that's all my comments on it.
Anyone else? Hey, I'll just make a comment on this as well. I was one of those councillors that did vote against this initially, so, but having said that, my concern was that it was a bit archaic. I was concerned about another gas station in Sycamore. I was concerned about electric vehicles as opposed to, something more modern. And I was concerned about the traffic circle. I was concerned about the traffic flow in there. And all of those things have basically been addressed. So I am ready to vote on this and get it finished up and clean up that corner and move forward. So Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, through the chair, I too was one of those councillors that voted against this on the first development. I was very opposed to the development going ahead without consolidating the lots. Just felt that it would be a long drawn out process if it didn't consolidate and do it right the first time. And that's why we've been in this position for the last two and a half years. So I feel strong that ship has sailed. The previous council voted in favor of it, and I'm okay with that. That's democracy. So having said that, I think the only way to move this project ahead is to keep moving it ahead and piece by piece, and it's been hard for the developer. I understand that, but it's our focal point of the entire community. And yeah, moving garbage dumpsters off the corner of the roundabout and moving them away and just making sure it's done right. And I still think like the access agreement is very important for him, not only us, but for him to have actual legal access to his property, because it is a landlocked piece of property. So I do agree that we should move this forward and get this development cleaned up and finished. I know it's even the site plans still call for future development on the back half of the property. I still don't understand how that can happen for site coverage unless he gets a variance, because the entire property is almost asphalt as it is. So I just, be cautious. And I think if we can look after this agreement and get his access for his property, he'll be able to move this ahead and open up in the near future. So I really feel strongly that we need to get this agreement and done right. And hopefully we can do that in the next couple of weeks. So I support this tonight.
Thank you. Councillor Beach.
Yes, through the chair, I just want to acknowledge that I think that this wasn't exactly what a lot of people envisioned on that corner. But it has begun, and I think we've done our best job to kind of all work together to get something there that everyone can accept. But yeah, I just want to acknowledge that because I did have feedback on that corner. Anyways, it's gonna work out, but it's, yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Beach. Any other ones? Any other comments? Let's call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Councillor Rich. Okay. Let's move on. Awarding an expression of interest, number 1220-20-157, use of modular accommodation facility. There's a recommendation of the council award expression of interest number 20-157, use of modular accommodations to Dwell Developments, and that staff be directed to draft a lease agreement with Dwell Developments for that's a little complicated, for the modular accommodation facility located at 1117A Eagle Pass Way. Could I get a mover? Councillor Bushel, Councillor Beach. Bianca, take it away.
Through the chair. So just some background here. So, what we used to call the Eagle's Nest, we're now referring to as the modular accommodation facility as staff. As the Eagles have given notice that they are no longer going to be renting it throughout the winter months. So at the March 27th Committee of the Whole, staff was directed to seek proposals from the public regarding the use of the facility. So an EOI was put out on April 8th. And was left open for over a month. We left it very open for whatever people imagined, submit proposals on how, imagine this facility being used. We only received one correspondence from an interested party, and that is Dwell Developments. Dwell is owned and managed by Marine. At Marine, helping the Eagle Valley seniors. So her proposal that she submitted, so we're not agreeing to a lease today. It's just allowing staff to work with Marine to get to a lease agreement if council so chooses. So currently Marine is proposing a monthly lease rate of $5,000 plus applicable GST, a 2-year term with options to renew, so 4 years, so in 2-year increments. Utilities to be paid by the tenant, and that includes propane, hydro, internet, water, and sewer. And then snow plow removal by the district, which is how it's currently being done. And speaking to the proponents, so their idea for the facility is for it to be used to house workers during the influx of construction projects going on. And speaking to Marine too, it's not just for workers. If there's people in between housing or seasonal workers within town, they'd manage that and fill those rooms accordingly. So people staying in these rooms would be given a continental breakfast every day and a baked lunch, and then they'd be open to have dinner throughout the community. And then there'd be rules in place, and there'd be a staffer on site. One of the rooms would be designated for someone managing the facility to make sure, all the rules are being followed. And of course, knowing that it's within a park and right next to an elementary school, that staffer would be there for security purposes. And any questions? Marine's not online today. She did state that she doesn't have staff currently in place. So really, this is giving staff the green light to just talk to Marine and determine what a lease would look like and if it's going to be feasible for her.
And this will come back to council.
Bring back to council. Yeah.
Council, any questions? Councillor McCabe.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote in favor of this, but when it comes back to council, and I'm just one councillor, not council. If you get some language in there that gives us some pretty strong triggers to cancel agreement without cause. In case we don't like what's going on over there. Once you negotiate something with them. I don't get me wrong, I support this, but I want some easy out clauses with safe, harmless and without cause and blah, 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 blah.
We always get some good termination clauses in there. Those are important.
Absolutely, without cause. Councillor Rich.
Through the chair, I think this is a good idea. We've got to use this. I would like to see Sycamoose, whoever goes in there. There's a green space where you enter if you actually look at the nest. And that we get a kind of a 6-foot wooden fence there, so people have a little bit of a patio and they're separated from the skate park. So if people are sitting with their kids and biking and folks that are staying in there, if they want to sit on the green space, that it's very defined and it's not a huge amount of space. So I would recommend that. And then, the other thing is the parking we'll have to look at the parking. Right now, the CSRD has blocked off some of the parking where it says no parking. And then we have ball and skate park people and they're going to need parking spots so that we figure out how many spots they get or how we're going to work that to make sure the park is still has parking and they have proper parking.
Staff will probably be working on that as well. Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, I agree with Councillor McCabe on getting some pretty, good clauses in there. And what I was gonna say was like, I think for the initial 2 years, we do a 1-in-1 renewal. Rather than just a 2-year option right off the bat. I'll be honest, when I read through this, and I wouldn't mind reading the entire application if that's available to us, that they put to us, the EOI. I see that we have ours there, but and if that can't be shared, that's also fine.
It's it's pretty much what the attachment is. It's very simple.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about a couple of things. One, worker housing and stuff right behind a school. That doesn't worry me too much, but I think I read in here that some transitional housing and short-term kind of element is what's causing me concern, whether it be workers that are coming and going. And, the original idea behind this facility was really, we were building it for, I guess, the hockey academy, right? And then it transitioned once COVID happened, right? So it's a bit of a different use than what it was intended. And I just think we need to be extremely careful with that. Because this wasn't ever supposed to be intended for worker accommodation or anything. It was supposed to be kind of attached to the hockey arena operations, but I'm not sure if she can't give us some more, or maybe staff can build into there some assurances of what can go on there and how short-term is short-term. And if we are talking about, I guess, if it is workers, then they're employed on a project within the district of Sicamous, things like this, that I think Malcolm was mentioning or like alluding to, just because of the close proximity to schools and other recreation areas that we have, so. For sure.
Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, through the chair, yeah, I agree with everybody on that. Remember that if it's gonna be workers, it's gonna be their go-to place when they come home and the skate park right close there. It is a park and, if they're adults, before it was the kids, the junior hockey, they weren't outside drinking. And I mean, these people might want to sit outside and have a beer in the sun. So a fence would be nice, or maybe, and also maybe Daryl, look at even some patio blocks, a sidewalk to it, because it actually gets pretty muddy or wet when you go from the asphalt to that accommodations. It really gets wet in there and it gets really muddy. So some patio blocks. And then another thing I didn't see on the agenda or on the inventory was a barbecue. I mean, are they gonna be barbecue in there? Is there gonna be a little barbecue area that's not, you don't want the barbecue up against the building or anything? So just, be cautious about we're not renting to kids anymore, we're renting to adults, and it is a park. So it'd be nice to be, secured, and I'm sure they would want it that way as well. Some privacy and a little bit of privacy, so my concerns. But I do think it's a great idea that it's bring some revenue in for that development.
Anyone else? Okay, let's call the question. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, correspondence for action, community safety wellbeing conference invitation. Sarah, did you want to?
Through the chair, so this is an invitation from Mayor Alta from Victoria. And she's inviting council to attend the 2024 Community Safety and Wellbeing Conference. It looks like it's at the end of October. So this information is for you to consider. All I have.
Any comments? Any takers? Okay. Go ahead.
I have family in Victoria, so yeah, I could. That would be. I think it looks like it's First Nation host.
Guess I don't know. What's it? I don't know.
Registration's not open until mid-August.
So we still have time.
Yeah,
I don't know what October's gonna bring, but I do have family in Victoria, so it would be easy enough to do. Just to take it in.
and it's regarding ideas and understanding community safety and well-being
Yeah.
and how it practically manifests in
Yeah.
communities. So the whole
Yeah.
schedule's not planned out.
No, I know.
Thought I would share
I'd
it.
like to see more, but it might be, probably would be a good learning.
Bianca?
Just through the chair, has a registration fee been determined or anything yet for it, or?
I don't think there's any.
This is an initial invite.
This is just an initial,
Respondents, we bring
we're
it.
just expressing interest. Yeah,
Just budget wise, I'm sure if it's within our budget for
Yeah.
these conferences. So maybe once those details are determined.
yeah.
Then we can,
Sure.
we'll bring it back.
That was a tight ship.
Yeah, okay.
Just
Correspondence,
saying I have a place to stay, that's all.
correspondence information package, 2024. 0522, Sarah.
So just our
So,
general.
these are just our
correspondence for
general-
Information and yeah, so if there's any discussion from council.
So I'd have to bring them all up because they're in here, right?
Yeah, we started combining them into a package.
Yeah, I know. If you don't like the new system, don't love the new system. No,
Sorry, I didn't quite.
You know what? I totally missed it, so now I don't know what's in here.
Chair, when we do our council highlights, we want to be able to link back to all the correspondence. It's easier as one link and just have to scroll.
There's a wildfire coexistence program.
There is a note in here regarding the fire chief and where he's living. So I think there's some clarification around that for our community. So I maybe just want to ask Shauna, if Shauna, can you speak to that?
I'll make it really brief.
Okay, thanks.
So just really, I'm just gonna give a really brief notice, speaking about something that's personnel labor related. That I'm not gonna do that in an open meeting, but what I will say with regards to this is that there is a formal command structure in place and there is a rotating standby schedule in place. And that just ensures that there is always an officer that can act as incident command at an incident. Any other questions?
Kelly?
And just for clarity, we've already responded to this as well. So this hasn't just been hanging loose. The day after we got it, we did respond, but it's addressed to mayor and council, so we're required to bring it to mayor and council.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, because we just came across it and I just scanned. So I just wanted to make sure that it was shared with the community as well. Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, Shauna, I mean, you could maybe just highlight, some of our staff, like, I don't know, Clayton's been with us for 20 something years, 25 years, 24 years?
So, so there is like a formal structure in place with a deputy chief. We have 2 captains and then we have 4 lieutenants and acting under that. So there is a formal command structure and, with education and experience that, to ensure that any incidents, right, that there is somebody that can take command of an incident at any given time. And that's the
Yeah, and I think probably, like you say, there's 2 commanding officers, I guess you want to call them. They, in a normal city, a fire chief would, sure, he'd go to calls, he'd get there when he gets there. But there's always somebody in command that can still, and we're probably used to Brett, being around 7 days a week and, you're always seeing him around town. And, it's just I guess it's a new era, I guess, and, but we are covered and I just wanted you to, express that to everybody that's listening online that, and that's here, that we are covered.
Yeah, absolutely, Chair. So in a larger situation, lots of times your fire chiefs are administration only and they're not actually responding to calls. So that's where that command structure does come into place. And we do have, and just for the record, our fire chief does respond to all calls. But there is a command structure in place to ensure that at any point, there's somebody that is in command, there's a chain of command. So, maybe it starts out at 1 and as soon as somebody comes that's higher on the chain of command, then that individual takes command of the incident and it goes from there. So
Awesome.
absolutely.
Councillor Bailey.
Yeah, not on this point specifically, but I just wanted to give some, some feedback on this because I've heard from a few constituents and I think in general, when we obviously people don't have to live in Sycamoose, but there is a strong desire, I would say, based from constituents that they see that. That's just something that I know they have told me. It's not related to this case or anywhere else, but people are looking at that. And I think this is just something that we keep in mind and we just remember based on some of the past issues where people might not have lived here, just the feedback that we hear back. And I think in this specific case, that's probably what the voices we're hearing about is just some of that initial concern. But it is a small community and housing is not always available here in Sycamoose, and it's a challenge everywhere, really. It's trying to find the right housing, the right schools, and everything else is not easy. So anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he does, has his family and wife, and he has responded to every call that we've had. So I think that it's going to work out with a commander in Sycamoose. Go ahead.
Chair, I just want to echo what Councillor Bailey has said. Because I think that this is, this works out in certain situations, but in general, the people here do express that they would really like their leaders in all wherever possible to live in this community. And I just want to share that because that's what I hear as well. And it's important for us to remember that.
Thank you. Okay. Councillor Bushel.
Yeah, the next letter on there about the fire symposium.
Thanks, Shauna.
I'd love to go to that, but I can't. But is any of the staff going to it? Like would Lorenzo or Daryl be going to it? That's the one in Kelowna?
Oh.
Yeah, I just maybe even forward it on to Lorenzo and Daryl so they can look at it. I would like to go, but I just can't go that time.
Okay, and just addressing the backyard ultra. Was a great event. Hopefully we can get that back and success for Sycamoose. So that was a thank you note from them. Go ahead, Councillor McCabe.
Yeah, on the invasive mussels, I see they're pulling the plug. So it's illegal to have your plug in when you're traveling with your boat. So that's another small little step.
Is there anything else that anyone wants to address in here? Okay.
They also increased funding.
Yes.
Super invasive species.
For
Yep.
invasive species.
Yep, that's awesome.
So that is.
Go ahead, Councillor Bailey.
The backyard ultra was great. I mean, extremely healthy people, boy.
And it was busy.
Not a lot of blue sales that weekend. But have they given us any feedback that, they, other than that? Okay, yeah. But I think it was all extremely positive. And a lot of people felt it was really a unique / weird event, but they were all intensely, interested by it. Like, really, you're doing this? So, I want to thank them for coming to town. I think it was great.
I totally agree with you. I kind of went, oh my God, this is like insane. Like you guys are going to run and rest and run and rest.
Yeah.
Till you can't run and rest anymore.
Who does that?
I don't know. Yeah, but the restaurants were busy. It was kind of a Thursday night and everybody who are all these people in town? So it was good. Councillor Evans, did you?
I talked to one of the participants, a friend of mine that lives in Toronto, and he just had a great time doing it. And he's crazy.
Councillor Ridge.
Yeah, and through the chair, the way the beach park was set up, the way staff put it together, I went down a couple of times and checked it out because I was doing the same thing. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was like, we did a really great job. The communal but it was pretty cool down there too. So
Yeah.
it's nice to see the feedback that they did have a good time, and I'm sure they'll be back.
Okay, anything else? Okay, let's open it up to the floor for, oh, wait, no, sorry. I'm not done yet. Committee and regional district reports. That's for everyone to read at your leisure.
Right.
I don't need to go over all of those. So what is it you're pointing to, Miss Sarah?
Just those.
Okay. Okay, we'll have public input. Anyone in the gallery? Deb?
Just because you might have a different group. Farmers Market Friday, really important. Everybody come out.
Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, sounds good. Anyone else? Go ahead, Steve.
Good evening, everyone. Steve Sullinger, representing Legacy again. Firstly, I noticed that in correspondence, it was passed over my letter of dispute that was put in to council in regards to the decision that was made at the committee of the whole meeting. I'd like to say that, number one, that disturbs me, that it's passed over. I've heard tonight that I've heard the word used 2 or 3 times, democratic voting, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but I'd just like to say this. It's the opinion of the applicant, being myself, not the Strata Corporation, and the majority of the Legacy owners and taxpayers. This is without prejudice that the allowing of short-term rentals as of the zoning made by the DOS December 14th, 22 has created hardship, financial burden, safety and liability issues and unrest at the above mentioned property due to the District of Sycamoo's decision to rezone the property from historical, I'll use the words MUR1, I forget the proper numbers, to an MUR2 to allow rentals. This is proven in the support documents attached and by 4 votes, showing a clear democratic majority votes in favor of an MUR1 zoning to remain. Okay. Move forward. That the District of Sycamoose feels this is a strata issue, that it should be dealt with internally. We object to this as a rezoning application of a property brought forth by a democratic majority of property owners and taxpayers is clearly, in our opinion, a District of Sycamoose matter to deal with, not strata issue. We deal with our issues internally that are strata related. This is not a strata related issue, in our opinion. It is to our belief that the DOS is unaware of the severity of the claims of reason brought forth for the rezoning application. At the committee of the whole meeting, I asked council if everyone had read the application and the supporting documents in their entirety from front to back. I received 0 answers. No one said, yes, we have, no, we haven't, whatever. That leads myself and others to believe that perhaps you're ill-informed as to the situation as per the application being made. We dispute the fact that the DOS claims this to be a strata issue, as I said previously, does not ask for a specific vote in December 14th, 2022. It was asked for a preferred vote of preference at that point in time. As it was strata, the ownership wanted in that building. We supplied that within a week with a clear majority saying that we did not want to be rezoned, but it moved forward. The dispute, the thing in opposition to this is now that the district at your committee of the whole meeting has asked us for a 75% vote. And we feel and find that to be perhaps even unethical to do it one way and then another way. It should have been done both the same way. You can't, in our opinion, you can't have an apple in December 22 and now into this year and have a grapefruit. Now you're asking us to do a strata vote of 75%, which, as I stated at the last meeting, there's no government in this world. This isn't a strata issue. So we're urging, again, that the district revisit this. There are lots of problems. Right now, today, there are problems with people, tenancies, illegal tenancies, dogs off leash, that's simple stuff. That's strata things. We're dealing with that internally. We find people. Okay, we deal with that. But this application is not that. This is to rezone our building back, made by myself with support of over 70% of the ownership. So we urge you to reconsider, take a look, contact us. And again, I'm disappointed that it was overlooked tonight in correspondence. I didn't want it to be long and big, but. Oh,
Thanks, Steve.
thank you.
Hey, anyone else? No? Okay,
Yes, but no. Okay, let's.
anybody online? No? Okay, recommendation of the regular council meeting for May 22nd, 2024 be adjourned at the time being 6:19. Can I get a mover? Councillor Bailey, Councillor Rich, all in favor, and we are done. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here.